printing, the capital-intensive printing presses.
You're a great friend of trees, aren't you?
I mean, well, yes. I mean, you know, it is not written anywhere that books shall forever be printed on dead trees.
My name is Jeff Ayers. I'm the manager and buyer for Forbidden Planet in New York City.
My name is Rodrigo Corral, and I'm a book jacket designer, or a graphic designer.
My name is Nathan Bullock, and I work at the Fashion Institute of Technology in the School of Continuing Professional Studies.
My name is Lynn Yoder. I'm in media sales at Amazon.
My name is Declan Kiley, and I'm the Robert H. Taylor Curator of Literary and Historical Manuscripts at the Morgan Library and Museum, New York.
There definitely is. I mean, there's a worldwide change happening from, print to digital. The old media is moving out.
In terms of computers, just straightforward computers, the production and publication of comics is just exponentially changed.
Increasingly, people seem to be switching to reading in electronic form.
What an e-reader does is create a new distribution channel for reading.
The Kindle is a new medium, whereas books have been around forever. I mean, since all of us were alive. I'm flying out on Thursday to go to Missouri, and it's going to be great to take it with me because it's a 2.5-hour flight, give or take. And instead of having to take books along, I've got something that big to go with me.
That's kind of what the digital age is about. Everybody wants everything immediately, and they want it customized to them. And having an e-reader allows one more way to read.
If we were to digitize every single book that ever existed, you would lose as much as you would gain.
The people who come to a store, I've seen the same people. They know each other through their comics community.
Libraries and bookshops, places where books are sought out and obtained, are social spaces. People often like to talk to other people when they're buying a book about the author or the author's work, and often like to be led in the selection of their chosen title or author by a librarian or an assistant in a bookstore.
I used to shop here when I was a kid. Occasionally. I grew up in the Bronx, and it was a long trip down, but it was worth it. It was like the only place in the city that it was remotely like this. When you're a kid and you're looking in a store, you're walking into a store and you're just bombarded with stuff. The colors, the looks, the books. You've got all your senses firing up over time, and that's when you really embrace it. Comics are a multi-sense kind of thing. You're feeling it. You're looking at it, you're smelling it.
You really kind of feel where you are in a book when you can turn the page and see where your bookmark is. You can learn a great deal from just, say, the quality of the paper or the way the text is being printed on the page. Is it printed at a slight slant? How is the page being trimmed? Sometimes a cover is specific to a book, the symbolism inherent in a book.
I don't even actually create illustrations. More like I'm putting words together that put a picture together. I do like the idea of coming up with solutions where you have to read the book to get what the cover means, not spelling it all out with the title. Maybe it's you read and you try to find a connection, and maybe it becomes another puzzle to the book you're reading. It's just there's something about a printed piece and how it also ages. Some books look better when they're older than they were brand new. With a book, you're turning pages. There's even just the sound of the paper has to have some kind of impact when you're reading a book. It's just a very different experience when you're actually holding a book as opposed to holding this slick box.
You can only see one page of the book at a time when you press a button, and then you get the next page after it will kind of black out or fade out. There are just such a multiplicity of details which cannot be satisfactorily, at this point, reproduced electronically.
Who is consuming books these days? People aren't spending that much time reading books as it is. I think Kindle creates an avenue for reading that fits into the digital lifestyle.
I know that for me personally, I think I read probably at least 2 or 3 times as much as I did before.
I can carry as many books as I think I might want to read.
It's just, it goes from being on Amazon servers to being in my hand. And it's something that was literally delivered instantly. There's not even any gas that's being spent to transport it across the country.
I love the green aspect to it. I love that, it's a reduction of paper printing.
I've probably read maybe 15, 20 books. Those are books that weren't printed. That's trees that weren't cut down.
I can't imagine it being more useful to anybody than a college student who's lugging around pounds and pounds of textbooks for all their different classes and having to buy new textbooks every semester.
I think as younger people come in, like people who grew up on a computer and on a BlackBerry or on an iPhone or on an iPod or whatever, from the time they were 5 years old, I think that it's going to change with that because it's so much easier, especially now that they even have a version that's specifically for textbooks. And you can take that to class and have, 20 textbooks on a single device without having to carry, a huge book bag around campus all the time. I definitely see that at some point in the relatively near future that, there's going to be a lot more kids carrying these to school. And whenever that happens, I think that's going to change everything. As once people get used to using it in one scenario, then it's going to, move on from that.
So solely digital, I could see it happening, and I actually wouldn't want to be part of that world.
I don't think that e-readers will take over books. Decades or centuries, maybe.
They've been doing it for a long time. They know what they're doing. It's books, it's paper, it's got its thing, and people actually like that. People like the tangible book.
All those wonderful small details that you get with a book are erased and effaced when you sit looking at the grey-white screen of any e-reader.
It goes against everything that the printed piece should be. It's happening, but it's just cold, so it doesn't have the life that a book has.
When you go to a store, though, you're experiencing the full spectrum. It's not just I type clever to you, it's I talk to you, I see you, I experience you, all of you.
You lose out on all those human connections. And similarly, what you miss out on are the physical features of the book.
It's a thumbnail, it's so small and you can't grasp it.
With an e-reader, I feel sucked in by the words.
It's not much of a difference between reading on a paper and reading on a screen. The look of it itself is relatively close.
I really believe that it's to each his own.
I think that to collapse every bookshelf into one reading device is a very attractive idea to save space, but I think it would really change the way we live in the environment around us. By which I mean, as the philosopher said, a room without books is like a body without a soul.